David, very pleased to meet you.
Ross, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Where do you want to sit?
Well, you take a seat there, David.
Right. Okay.
When were you first posted to Northern Ireland?
August 69, but it was in the last Belfast deployment that the incident we're talking about happened.
And that was 1972.
In 73-ish. The night before that night, I'd been out all night doing patrols in the streets, as you did, because it was a hell of a time. It was all kicking off there. Mid-afternoon, the company commander woke me up and said, "Get these four names out of bed." And he said, "We've had an int from the RUC that the main gate sentries will be attacked that night after dark."
And those three lads who were the sentries,
could have been.
They could have been killed.
Could quite easily have been killed, yeah. Because remember, they were still as restricted then as we are today. Unless you see, you can suspect anything you want, but until it happens, you are stuck. You can't retaliate. 2 or 3 hours into the ambush, a car came slowly up the road. It stopped. 4 men got out with weapons. We knew we were about to be attacked. What the RUC had told us was true. The ambush party were in a covert position. The 2 main gate sentries were wide open. The man above was hidden by the torchlight. As far as they knew, there were only 3 Marines to be killed. They had no idea we were in a covert ambush position. The first man had his rifle in a firing position. You've got to decide, are you going to wait for the enemy to open up first? Are you going to open up first? Which puts you in a horrible position.
But if you don't open up first, there's a very high chance
that one or more of the 3 men would be killed. So when he was pointing this weapon towards the gate, I said, well, I'm not going to wait for this, because I was in the ambush position. So I initiated, that's what they call it, when the first man to fire initiates the ambush. And that as it is at that point, as it is in any ambush, that control is finished, all hell breaks loose, because they realise what's happening, they fire back, you're firing at them. And until you've actually done it, you don't realise what chaos can really ensue. Time is irrelevant when a thing like this happens. It lasted all of just 1 minute.
Yeah.
And 52 years later, you are now here asking me about it.
Yeah.
As I remember it. I'll say that again, as I remember it. The one man we knew was injured. We followed his blood trail, and he had disappeared into the forest around us, sort of thing, on the edge of Belfast. The other man who's shot and fell in the middle of the street, he had firearms residue on both his forearms. He had firearms residue on his chest area. It was an old World War something or other, Lee Enfield rifle with the full wooden stock on it, and the bolt action. Yeah, you can have 5 or 10 rounds in the thing. That was found next to him with his fingerprints all over it, sort of thing.
And the other terrorists ran away?
Disappeared completely. In amongst all the chaos, they disappeared completely.
That was more than 50 years ago. You didn't hear anything more about it. And then the peace process started in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Tony Blair and the Good Friday Agreement.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact year. I received a letter from the PSNI referring to my ambush position and all that's happened since then. And it said there's every possibility you may be charged with causing, what do they call it, causing death by firearms or something like that, and you may have to come to Northern Ireland and answer all these charges.
How did you feel when you opened that?
Well, I felt, believe it or not, I felt quite amused. I thought, what? They don't stand a hope in hell, a snowball's chance in hell of charging me with anything, because they don't know now what I know way back then about the firearms residue all over the dead man and all the things that have happened since. They don't know anything about it. And so what are they going to do about it? And that's why it never worried me at all. Because they'll take it all the way to the Supreme Court.
How did you feel about the letters of comfort?
At the time that Tony Blair let the enemy go that way with no comebacks, but held the army to account, and still do to a certain degree today, if Keir Starmer is going to bring it back in again, as the rumour seems to be, it makes me ask the question, on the statute of limitations, when it's in a sense swept away and they're let off and we are held to account, that decision was made in the House of Commons, was it, by vote, to do away with the...
Parliament voted, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, to give men like you immunity from prosecution. Because we felt that you served your country.
That's right,
and all these years later, you should not be being prosecuted.
That's
and we felt it was a fundamental unfairness that the terrorists were given immunity, but men like you, who served our country, were not. And the government has chosen to take that away.
Just to go back to Tony Blair now, when Tony Blair and his immediate entourage made the decision, I wonder was that a Blair decision or a group decision to let the enemy move away with no comebacks, but yet to split the decision and hold on to soldiers and the RUC and make them answer. Now, by doing that, surely wasn't Tony Blair committing what you might call an act of treason? They've gone for safe passage and they cannot sleep at night. It's ridiculous, the Crown Forces. It's a very strange situation, and I don't know even today if he is has he left himself open to someone brave enough to come up with treason against the Crown Forces all of those years ago. What was it, 20 years ago he brought those letters in? An act of treason against the Crown Forces. And I'd like, if I could, well I can't, but if I could, to talk to the Attorney General, which you tell me now.
Yeah, Lord Hermer.
Lord Hermer, yeah.
He's advising...
How receptive would he be to my suggestion that Tony Blair has committed an act of treason? How receptive would he be for me to call it an act of treason to let those men go but hold on to those soldiers forevermore, looking at the letterbox on the door for the brown letter? As old as me and a lot younger than me, I think from the age of 85, the younger the men get, 75, maybe even 65, I think they're the ones who worry a lot more than me and the older people of my ilk worry.
So in the 1970s you thought the enemy was the terrorists.
Yeah, exactly.
Turns out there's another enemy.
Yeah.
And that's the politicians, the lawyers.
How do you win
the political leaders of this country?
Situation like this? How do you win?
Now there's a choice for Keir Starmer in the coming months. He can continue in the way he's going, which is to take away immunity from prosecution for men like you.
Take away immunity, yeah.
Or he can change the law, bring it back, make sure that you and many other men, veterans who served our country, can live out the rest of your life with the peace of mind you deserve, and the same peace of mind, frankly, that the terrorists have got.
I would never join the army again. I would never go into the Marines again, except on board ship or into the Navy on board ship, because you're safe there. You can't get You can't be hounded by silly accusations of what you did in this field, on this street, in Belfast, in Afghanistan, because you're at sea. I don't mind getting blown up at sea, I just go down there. That's okay for me. It's no good trying to write this down in a book or anything, like John the Carrier. Because unless you've been there and you've actually captured the moment, and you can put that moment into words to let the layman understand of the urgency of deliberate ambush. What can I say?
There are so many cases like David's, men who served our country in order to protect us from IRA terrorism. The government should be protecting them, not exposing them to harassment and prosecution decades after their service. And yet this Labour government is proposing to repeal and replace the Legacy Act, doing just that. Once again, it's the left-wing, anti-British Attorney General, Lord Hermer, who's providing the legal advice to Keir Starmer. We should be protecting our veterans, not letting them down.